Secure some price for Tuesday, September 9th. It's a presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee here at the Historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Go visit them. Matt Sekeres alongside Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogers, and hitting switches and conducting things.
You seem to doubt the September 9th as it came out of your mouth.
I just can't believe we're already here.
Yeah, I know.
Summer went so fast this year.
Yeah.
So fast.
Lots
I think in part because we didn't have that like super warm spring that felt like it kicked off early. Anyways, we're here on September 9th.
We've got a best on best Winter Olympics coming for the hockey tournament and just everything else that goes along. And then the World Cup. Like, can you believe what is on our doorstep for the next 10, 11 months? Like, it's going to be a fun year, not to mention your run-of-the-mill Canucks season as well. Like,
well,
my goodness.
It's just we're sitting here, we're watching the Canada-Wales match going on, and we were just looking forward to World Cup dates and the actual days that Canada's going to play here at BC Place Stadium during the World Cup. Two of the three group stage matches are here, the second and the third, so should know where Canada is going after completion of that third one. Well, let's hope they're going to the next phase in Expanded World Cup, and it should be a friendly group because of host duties and all of that. But yeah, just pointing forward on the sports calendar. I mean, it's such a busy time of year right now with so much going on. I know many of you would have watched Monday Night Football last night, and we'll probably be watching Thursday Night Football, and on top of all the other local sports. Caps are back finally this weekend at BC Place. But yes, the year ahead, like, are you ready for a Stanley Cup final and a World Cup going on at the same time? Like a World Cup and in our city.
In the same city?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Probably not.
Yeah,
sorry,
I wouldn't
folks.
think so.
No.
But, we'll see. We'll see. Optimism reigns here in September.
Undefeated.
I said last month, we lead the league in August optimism. We may lead the league in September optimism.
It's true.
As well. Okay, let's get to our poll question presented by the Redwoods Golf Course. In the wake of his agent's comments, should the Canucks make Pittsburgh a huge offer for Sidney Crosby? You can vote yes. You can vote no. Do so at the Sekeres and Price X and YouTube channels. And we are asking this because, and this show has been on this story for 2 years now. Every time we ask somebody familiar with Sidney Crosby, familiar with Kyle Dubas or the Pittsburgh Penguins, about number 87's future in the only NHL market he has ever known, we're told, no, wants to be a career Penguin, wants the Mario Road. That is meaningful to him to be a one franchise guy. And I have always said, Wayne Gretzky was traded, played for 3 teams. Bobby Orr played for a second team. Most superstars in this league play for more than one team. And the Pittsburgh Penguins haven't won a playoff series in a decade. They haven't been to the playoffs in a number of years. Plus are the one team right now, and I saw insiders talking about this earlier in the week, they are the one team right now that actually doesn't intend to be all that competitive in this coming season either. That they would trade some of their veteran forwards, the Brian Rusts of the world, Ricard Raquels of the world, if they got a good offer. And that good offer can include draft picks and prospects, unlike many teams that are out there, even the teams that have been losers over the last little while, that aren't interested in that player anymore. And they're looking for ready-made players.
And Kyle Dubas with a quiver of young assets would be a dangerous thing. Like that's what Kyle Dubas wants, is to really build a team from the ground up, but you know, in his own vision. And it's tough when you take over a team to really transform a roster like that. You'd think he would be in on it, but he also wants to respect, of course, one of the greatest, maybe a Mount Rushmore guy in hockey history, respect his wishes and respect his legacy.
And so into all of that, we got something, and Mike, I'm going to, I'm going to send you something here to put up on the screen. But Pettersson, the agent for Sidney Crosby, and this is the same firm that represents Elias Pettersson and Quinn Hughes as well, should be noted, spoke to Pierre LeBrun today and gave us the first words that anyone in officialdom has ever given us on the possibility of Sidney Crosby changing teams. It's always a possibility, quote, Brisson said. It's always a possibility, you know. It's been 3 years in Pittsburgh. Hasn't made the playoffs. It all depends on how Sid is going to be and how the team is going to do. That's interesting. I believe that Sid should be playing playoff hockey every year. Now, some of that is grain of salt. Agents are paid advocates. And so when he says Sid should be playing in the playoff hockey every year, a lot of that is advocacy, but a lot of it for hockey fans is true too, right? Like, these last 3 playoffs have gone on without the generational star, the next one.
Yeah.
The guy who took the torch from the Gretzkys and Lemieux and became the face of the national.
And that's something
hockey. And many, like, just casual hockey fans have said that as well.
That's something that's missing. I mean, I didn't expect the Capitals to be as good as they've been the last couple of years, but it's just nice to have Ovechkin in the playoffs. You know, like that. He's, again, generational player. But not to have Sidney Crosby taking part is really odd. And, you know, I think these comments will get a certain amount of run here. But, Matt, we are going to be hearkening back to these comments in mid-December if the Pittsburgh Penguins are 10-25-5 at that point. Like, if it's a horrific start for the Pittsburgh Penguins, these comments will be back, and they'll be back with a lot more bite to them. Because if it's another lost year, man, oh man, you think the temptation would be there for Sidney Crosby. Eventually that wall's going to hit. Like, I think we saw the wall hit for Ovechkin last year. Like, he got there, he got the record, but he looked like an old guy, scoping out a record.
Especially coming off that injury. Yeah. I mean, he looked to be goal hunting. There was empty netters involved there. This is,
Yeah, it was Project Ovechkin more than he was actually earning the goals, you know. So you don't want to see that for Crosby. And so if he's having a good season, both player and team alike might see an opportunity there to make it happen.
And look, I say we've been talking about this for a couple of years because, and I'll acknowledge, when we first started talking about this a couple of years ago, it was fantastic.
Bit of a lark.
Yeah, a summer lark. It is still far-fetched, don't get me wrong.
Well, it's far-fetched for the Canucks. I don't think it's far-fetched in the league.
I don't think it's far-fetched for Colorado and Montreal.
Yeah.
Of course, his Cole Harbour, the Nova Scotia version, buddy, Nathan McKinnon, is there in Colorado. And for those who don't know, Sidney Crosby grew up a Montreal Canadiens fan. Remember the rookie year where he popped the water bottle up to the rafters to say hi to Rocket and Lafleur and all those guys? Yeah, so.
I think he's got the jammy pictures of the Canadians sort of things.
Jammies. I think there's bed sheets.
Yes, maybe.
But as we began talking about 2 years ago, when we first started allowing for the possibility that Sidney might leave, this is a management group that is very familiar with him and that he's very familiar with as well. They've had success. They've won Stanley Cups.
Yeah.
To this day, Patrick Allvin still hearkens the name Sidney Crosby when he talks about his favorite topic, preparation, habits.
Matt, I'll put it this way. If you're drawing
so
up
you can only imagine, especially after the departure of Rick Tocchet, who was supposed to be their culture king, right?
Yeah.
How an available Sidney Crosby would appeal to Jim Rutherford, to Patrick Allvin, particularly given the need for that center iceman, particularly given the Tocchet departure, particularly because it's getting a little hotter around the collar. And, of course, I can only imagine he appeals to the owner, who loves his marquee value as well.
I think Montreal and Colorado are pole position. They fill out the front row on the grid here. But if we track back to certainly top 10,
if we get a good start, good traction, good reaction time to the lights, then maybe we split the...
No, but if you're looking for connections, like who would have the... And not looking so much for the prospect covered, because that's another question too.
We'll get to that.
But if you're looking for connections... I mean, I think the Canucks are top 5 in connections.
I think so.
Connective tissue.
Oh, I think so.
To make this
He would know Marcus Pettersson. He would know Drew O'Connor. He would know Teddy Bluger. Am I missing anyone there? Pierre-Olivier Joseph, I guess.
Not a lot of Canadian teammates, as we know it's been an American and Euro team for the most part. But
yeah. But the pitch would be, Sidney, you know us as a management group. You know how aggressive we are. Ownership could say that too, right? Because ownership, even prior to this management group, was part and parcel of decisions to trade out futures to try and win now. Sidney would be looking to win now. You would be selling him on this is one of the great hockey markets the world over. In Canada, in the place where you had your single biggest individual highlight, and I would include his NHL career on that as well, the golden goal at the 2010 Vancouver Olympics.
Connective tissue there, too.
In overtime to beat the United States and hand Canada that electric gold medal to close out what was, many have said it, the best 2 weeks in this country's history, or certainly sporting history, and when it comes to patriotism.
Yeah.
Sidney would have been well aware of the stories over that fortnight. People just up and leaving their jobs or taking time off work and saying, I've got to get to Vancouver to experience this celebration of Canadiana unlike any other. So that's the pitch. In terms of what it would cost, and we've put huge offer, or huge if you pronounce it like some, huge offer for Sidney Crosby. Look, you can't trade Elias Pettersson or Quinn Hughes because that defeats the purpose.
It defeats the purpose of being the cherry on top.
Frankly,
what gets you over the top.
I think Philip Roenick as well on that list, right?
Probably.
But really, anything short of those three guys, I'm bundling them all. If you're telling me that that's Hedel or Ratu with Willander, Lekkerimäki, Coots, the three top prospects, or one of the young up-and-coming defensemen, they are all available for Sidney Crosby, if you ask me.
Probably have to add in a roster player, so that's a Besser or a Garland, just to keep them afloat.
Balance some
keep
money.
them afloat.
As we know, he makes $8.7 million, right? He loves his 87. He's into numerology.
Yeah.
So he's actually really great value. The player we saw last year and the year before, because we sat here going, when is Sidney going to slow down? Sidney has not slowed down yet. He's 38 years old.
And the contract length is perfect for the acquiring team.
Oh, it's 2 years.
Like you wouldn't want a third year on Sidney Crosby because you just don't know. But you're pretty confident in his ability to do something over the next two, I think.
I think he's going to be excellent bang for the buck this year at 8.7.
Yep.
With where NHL salaries have gone.
Yeah.
So look, this is an all eggs in the basket sort of move for the Vancouver Canucks.
How many years does
And
Quinn
if it
Hughes...
doesn't work out, there's going to be a lot of pain and there will be recrimination.
Hey, Matt, how many years does Quinn Hughes have left on his contract?
He's got two.
Two?
Well, that's the other thing.
That syncs up nicely, doesn't it?
This also, I think, blends in, stitches into Operation Keep Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Is Quinn going to be agitating to leave next summer if Sidney freaking Crosby is on the team? No way. So I voted yes. I voted a resounding yes. I would love to see it.
Well, here's the thing. What was the actual phrasing of the question? Should they put together a huge offer?
In the wake of his agent's comments, should the Canucks make Pittsburgh a huge offer for Sidney Crosby?
Here's the thing. It's free to make an offer.
Well, unless they say yes, unless it's an offer.
Yeah, you have to be prepared to
You
have it
be
accepted.
prepared for the other side.
But you know, it's free to make the offer. Might as well.
It's free to spitball.
Yeah.
We know how aggressive they are. We know they have thus far failed to get that center iceman. We are into more expensive not to territory. We've been saying that since July. Many were like, oh, just let the summer play out. It is going to be exceedingly difficult to get that piece.
And Crosby
before the start of the season.
Crosby has turned guys that you've never heard of into pretty good players. So in terms of what would be left, you did not know Chris Kunitz's name before he played with Sidney Crosby. I can assure you.
Or you might have because he was a bit part on that Ducks Cup team. But yeah, he was one of the great college free agents ever signed. But yes, Chris Kunitz dined out on Sidney Crosby, as has Connor Shearer. I mean, it's a long list.
Long list.
The daily poll question brought to you by the Redwoods Golf Course. I got my Redwoods hat on, Blake. I'm looking forward to getting out there next week. They got great swag, I'll say that. We got a playing lesson with their pro Craig next week, and God knows I need one. And for you, if you've got a junior at home, let me tell you about their junior golf camps. After school junior golf camps, because the weather is still nice. Keep them active, keep them moving. Available, they're running through the late summer and the early fall for kids ages 6 to 16. Set your kids up. It's a sport of a lifetime. I mean, we play golf with guys in their 80s. Private, semi-private junior lessons available, flexible to your schedule. Winter lessons going to be available soon. We'll talk to you about that. Go to redwoods-golf.com/instruction. And if you don't know, they have an extraordinary practice facility there. The heated and covered driving range, open year-round. They got the large sheltered stalls, keeps the sun off you when it's too hot, keeps the rain off you when it's too wet. They got a practice fairway bunker, as Blake was talking about yesterday. And the course is dog-friendly. Leashed and well-behaved pups, bring them to the course. Looking forward to getting out next week to the Redwoods. Let's get to our top story. It's brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Jack muses about playing with Quinn, and he's not afraid to say it, bro. Asked by Pierre LeBrun. Boy, LeBrun asking all the good questions today. Asked by Pierre LeBrun on the NHL media tour, Jack Hughes, New Jersey Devils center iceman, younger brother to Quinn, says, quote, "This is the headline question, you know," and he smiled at Pierre. "Honestly, I'm not afraid to say it. Yeah, I would love for Quinn to. Eventually, I'd love to play with them." Double clutched on that sentence. We'll get back there. He continued, "And whether that's in New Jersey or at what time that takes at some point, I want to play with Quinn." He sounded like he was doing a bit of a hum, like, how do I say this? But yeah, that's the question going around. They talk all day about it up in Vancouver, you know. But yeah, I'd love to play with Quinn at some point.
Small correction. We don't talk all day about it. We talk every day about it. Those are two different things.
Fair.
It comes up every day.
Well, and this helps fuel the fire, Jack.
Yeah.
It's like he wants to speak it into existence, even while his older brother is saying, "I can handle the noise this season." Frankly, after reading this, I wouldn't be surprised if Quinn went to Jack and said, "Okay, you know what, bro? Like, maybe a one and done on this topic. Like, I don't need you piling on to the noise."
The positive
but
spin,
he does. And he even caught himself that I would love for Quinn to, you can just hear the end of that sentence, right?
Yes.
Join us in New Jersey. And then he catches himself and says, well, eventually play with them, whether that's Jersey or somewhere else.
Right. And that's the
But
positive spin on it.
You can hear the brain and the wheels moving there.
The positive spin is that it wasn't explicit to him that it's Quinn going to him. You know, I think he does leave open the possibility that it is maybe a next contract thing where they meet somewhere else.
Is that before or after the smirk? Because I think the smirk said as much as anything else.
We're gonna need a whiteboard and you know.
Well, and
stop it right there.
To his point, we do talk about it all day or every day because he's no worse than a top 5 Canuck of all time, right? Some would put him even higher. He's no worse than the second best defenseman on the planet. and he is the engine of team success. It's a big story. It's a big worry. And if the Canucks get out of the gate to a poor start, it'll rank with McDavid's future in terms of the single biggest questions of speculation in NHL circles. And when I say speculation, I mean everyone from owners and GMs all the way down to fans.
I don't want to get too distracted by this, but what's Luke contract's status?
Well, I was going to get to that.
Because there's 3 of them. Only 2 of them are under contract right now.
Because I went away there for a week and a half, and I come back. He's still unsigned in New Jersey, Luke Hughes, despite his general manager, Tom Fitzgerald, calling him the off-season priority on Canada Day. It's been something in the area of 10 weeks, Tom, and you haven't addressed the priority, or at least you haven't got his name on a contract.
And it's a different situation, but it's the same logic as we had with Tom Willander and the Canucks. Like, yeah, there is negotiation there, but the window as an RFA going into his second contract, it's not very large. Like, there's only so many possibilities and obvious.
Well, he doesn't have
pressure
arb
points.
rights, so he doesn't have a lot of leverage, and you might be squeezing Luke Hughes. Do so at your detriment, Tom Fitzgerald, because if you're a Canucks fan, you're hoping for disgruntlement there. You're hoping there's already disgruntlement with Luke. You're hoping they settle on a bridge deal, or even better, they don't settle at all. And he's the next young player who wants to govern his own future and ask for a trade. That's what you're hoping for if you're a Canucks fan.
Yep.
Or maybe if you're Quinn too, right? Telling me the youngest bro could come on over here? Or at least he's available? Now, look. The noise, if you will, is getting louder. And Jack certainly brought the megaphone today. But it's particularly loud amongst true Devils believers. One fan account in the wake of Jack's comments writes, quote, "I'm done with the whole Quinn Hughes to New Jersey thing. It's already done. He's a Devil. It's time to think bigger. I'm starting the Quinn's bringing Elias Pettersson with him movement." How about that?
All right. That's Ann Stamkos. That's the
ahead and
Devil's
dream.
version of Ann Stamkos.
Yeah, go ahead and dream. Hey, Tom, can you just clear $20 million off the books? Or
Yeah. Because, again, Elias
in fact, you
Pettersson.
may even need 25 to.
Yes. Well, yeah, easy. 20
Right. And, of course, you, I'm sure, saw or read the comments last week of Quinn Hughes. One thing I'm really good at, or have gotten good at, is I'm very present. I can't even sign for another year, so there's nothing I can do. As far as the noise, I can handle the noise. That's why I'm the captain of this team, because I can handle these things and I can play at an elite level, and it doesn't matter what's going on.
Pounding the chest as he says it.
Love it.
And that is the truth. They are a year behind the McDavid circus.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about the fabulous sports calendar ahead. Also ahead, 1 year of, the worry level being at merely 6 or 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because a year from now, it's what you're seeing in Edmonton. It's 9 or 10 out of 10.
This situation for Edmonton has to be resolved by, if not the trade deadline, then July 1st. That's when the Quinn Hughes situation kicks into the year-long countdown, if you will.
Yeah, you got a year.
Yeah. But right now, Edmonton's, and honestly, Blake, and Calgary made a big move today. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But McDavid and Edmonton, heading into the final year of his deal, extension talks, and he sounds like there's been somewhat of a change of a position there with McDavid, right?
Yep.
The Edmonton Oilers are very much on notice that if you can't build a team around him that produces a Stanley Cup this year, it sounds very much like he is going to look elsewhere come next year. Jack Eichel in Vegas, also extension eligible. I saw a little scuttlebutt there out of Sin City in terms of whether or not Eichel will have a contract extension before the season starts. Mason McTavish in Anaheim. There are a lot of big files in the Pacific Division right now.
If this was
We're
the
gonna
NBA,
have Darren Dreger on here next week or the week after. Like, I hope he's staying up late because most of his insider work is going to be around teams in the Pacific Division right now.
if this was the NBA, Eichel and McDavid rumors would have already started.
Oh, of course.
They're meeting in
Well,
blah, blah, blah.
No. If this was the NBA, you would already have superstars from other teams courting them.
Yes. Yeah. With some tampering-esque.
Exactly. Well, I'm not sure it's
quotes.
called tampering when it's players, right? Only management. It's lobbying when it comes to players.
Yeah.
Now, Quinn last week continued, and as far as the noise around my teammates, I'm going to try to help everyone else too and be a good leader as I can be. Noise doesn't bother me. It's a long year, and I'm just going to be day by day and focus on the short term. That's the truth, honestly. He went on to talk about how Garland and Besser are good friends and just re-signed. But then he added, I will say last year was not fun. It just wasn't, but I'm a really competitive guy, and last year was a failure, so I'm trying to bring my best. Bottom line, Canucks have to avoid the melodrama.
Yes.
And that should be easy enough, but we know where this franchise has been with drama over the last 10-plus years, decade of darkness. And then secondly, you've got to be competitive.
Well, I think
I mean, he's basically putting the Canucks on the same notice that Connor McDavid has put the Oilers.
every team is going to have win-loss drama. And I think the Canucks are going to be destined for some win-loss drama here. Mm-hmm. But everything else, soap opera drama, that has to be at zero. And there's really nothing obvious outside of the Hughes stuff that we just talked about that should lead you to believe there is soap opera drama. Win-loss drama is going to happen, especially for a team that's in that 90 to 100 point range. Like there's going to be a fair amount of losses, a decent amount. So you're going to have that, but that's okay. I think every player needs to be able to handle win-loss drama.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the ebbs and flows, a 5-game losing streak.
Yeah.
A 6-game
Like it
winning
will
streak.
happen.
Yeah.
It
all
will.
These things happen. Although the Canucks don't win more than 3 in a row. Outside of 2 years ago when they broke off some terrific winning streaks, as we know, the Canucks have been sort of.
It's been a hallmark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you win 3 in a row, can they get to 4? No.
But the goaltending has often prevented the opposite from occurring as well. Like they generally don't have extended losing.
Generally don't go on the 6 or 7. Well.
Yeah, generally, I think that's been the case.
Except for the Boudreaux year. Anyways. Just one last thing before we leave this topic of the Hughes brothers, because we've done this show as well earlier this summer. In fact, right after Rutherford made the comments about Quinn wanting to one day play with his brothers. Jack Hughes has 0 trade protection. He's under contract for 5 more years at $8 million. The Godfather offer to New Jersey on Jack could apply just like the poll question, the Godfather offer to the Pens on Crosby.
And now with Luke on side, wouldn't
Well,
now be the time?
yeah,
Wouldn't now be the time?
I'm just saying. And the other thing is, I think you shake up Tom Fitzgerald there a little bit, right? Hey, Tom. Yeah, it's Patrick. So anyways, this is a formal offer. I am right now telling you we are willing to trade X, Y, Z plus for Jack Hughes. The offer's good for 48 hours. Let me know. And Fitzgerald, just like a shiver of fear, shoots down his spine.
Well, and,
right?
and here's
we see you got Luke unsigned, and we heard you called him a priority, but 10 weeks have passed and nothing has happened there. And yeah, we're not going to offer Sheehan. Well, he's not eligible, but just so you know, we'd be interested in Luke as well.
And here's the thing. Sidney Crosby is Sidney freaking Crosby. So you can send sun and moon and stars over to Pittsburgh and they could still say no because it's Sidney Crosby. Jack Hughes is a great player.
He's injury prone.
He's injury prone.
He's weak.
He's smaller.
He's small and weak. He skates very fast. He's sensational with the puck. Would like him on my team. Don't get me wrong, but he is small.
Not going to denigrate the product entirely,
exactly.
But it's not Sidney Crosby.
No, exactly. Well, when you're bartering at a garage sale, well, I like it, but there's a chip there.
Yeah.
Not my favorite color.
I don't think you find Jack Hughes at a garage sale, but I understand. I understand. We have just sent out a lot of Canuck inventory in the last 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Hey. Absolutely.
A lot of draft picks and young players have just been dealt on today's show.
Yes, exactly. We're sorry, Braden Coots. We don't even know you
Yes,
yet.
yes.
But we've moved you to Pittsburgh and Jersey today in the course of 29 minutes.
But the good news is it's for either Sidney Crosby or Jack Hughes.
Exactly. You will always have that on the resume. Traded for Sidney.
Yeah.
Traded for a Hughes brother.
Anyways,
What our friends said.
allow yourself to dream.
We're going to be at Yellow Dog a week from Friday doing a program in advance of Canucks training camp, which gets going in
Yellow
Penticton.
Dog, just down the street from neighborhood up in Penticton. We can't wait for that. If you can't go to that, we have another little smaller roadie for you. How about the Whistler Beerfest that's coming up this weekend, September the 13th. That's the Saturday. It's back. Yellow Dog and neighborhood are both in on the fun, so grab your tickets now because it's Whistler, and it's probably still going to be decent weather, and there's beer. Like, those are three really good ingredients for a fabulous weekend.
Kevin Lankinen. Do you know that Kevin Lankinen is still not 1 year old as a Vancouver Canuck? He signed last year on September 21st. It was a 1 year deal for $875,000. And let's face it, to that point in his NHL life, Kevin Lankinen was a backup. Not only a backup, he was kind of a journeyman backup without a ton of NHL games under his belt because he came over late from Europe. He's 30 years old now, in case you didn't realize. He was a journeyman backup without a ton of NHL experience in both Chicago and Nashville over 4 seasons. He had played just 112 NHL games over those 4 seasons. And he was hoping to do a little better on the contract after having a pretty decent year with the Predators, and he didn't. And he waited out the whole summer, and then here came the Vancouver Canucks with an opportunity he couldn't turn down. Thatcher Demko was hurt. He was going to get a chance to vie to be a starting goaltender in training camp. Okay, they went with Sheloffs in the opener, but soon thereafter it was Kevin Lankinen's crease. And he turned into an NHL-made man. The 5-year extension at $4.5 million per season. He became such a big part of the Vancouver Canucks that he was one of the selected players by Canucks management and media relations yesterday to speak at the Jake Milford, the season opening event for the club. So, before we hear from Lankinen, and got to say, we said this a lot last year too, he just sounded like a very thoughtful person, a thoughtful, approachable person. He said all the right things last year. He had all the right notes in a second language.
And
right?
a bit of a tricky spot because he knew he was in
really tricky spot.
Demko's slot, right?
Oh.
He knew he was taking over from Thatcher Demko. He knew he had to say the right things to not be so presumptuous,
right?
That it was all of a sudden going to be the world just handed to him. That this is his team. It's not.
But like his class and his selflessness, I thought shone through. Last year. In this situation. And look, if it all goes well for Demko this year, we're thinking something like 30 to 35 starts for Kevin Lankinen, right? With Demko playing about 50 games in order to be rested for the playoffs. Is that the ideal construct here?
Yeah.
For the goaltender?
Yeah, enough. You want both goaltenders to have enough action that
Reps,
that they are in their respective roles, which is 1A and 1B. But you also need to find that narrow path where they've got juice left in the tank. We've seen, even with we used to have 70 starts for Luongo back in the day.
Close to it. It was crazy town.
But we've seen goaltenders that get 58 starts look tired in the playoffs. Like
Jake Ottinger, Hellebuyck, there have been recent examples.
So you got to keep that number reasonable.
Lankinen spoke yesterday about both goalies, Demko and he, pushing each other. Take a listen.
Yeah, 100%. That's what we've been doing here already for 3-4 weeks now. I feel like it's a good chemistry where we're obviously know each other better than we did last year, and we know kind of the strength of each goalie as an individual, and there's something we can learn from each other. So I see it's a really good upside for the team, but most importantly for the both of us as well.
we learned about you last year. Not a lot seems to phase you. I mean, in early September, are you too concerned about workload and job share and that kind of stuff, or is that all going to sort itself out?
No, I try not to really put too much emphasis on that. What I can really focus on is my preparation and my daily routine to make sure I'm sharp as I can ever be, and the rest of that will be up to the coaching staff to decide.
What's the confidence level for you and Thatcher as like a pairing compared to other pairs in the NHL? Like, where do you guys feel you guys are at?
Yeah, I think we're right there on top of the list. That's the mindset we're going in. I know Thatcher is an elite goalie, and I want to be there up too. I feel like whoever's in net, we got a good chance to win some hockey games here this year.
I love the fact that they have that sort of relationship and can share best practices. It's not always the case in an NHL dressing room where you have the starter who takes a sort of comprehensive, more holistic view of the situation other than this guy's going for my job and I'm going to make it difficult. There have been those cases in the past with starting goaltenders.
Not here.
It's a credit on Thatcher.
It's been a nice run for goalkeeping piece here.
Yep.
Where
Schneider and Louis.
Exactly.
The ultimate example, right? Corey was such a good dude.
But Ryan Miller was a pretty good dude.
Yep.
Jacob Markstrom was well respected and helped Demko come in. Like
Markstrom
it was
and Demko, Miller and Markey.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And look, if Thatcher is back to being the goaltender of 2 years ago, this could be an awesome season of goaltending for the Vancouver Canucks. Like, if you're the parent of a minor hockey goalie, wow.
Well, you hope that the Canucks and Thatcher Demko
kid's going to see something this year that's going to resonate and be pretty awesome.
You hope both team and player are realistic about what they're seeing. Like, what I'm worried about is, what if Demko's a lights out at the start of the season? Worried about, is small W worry.
No, you have to, in that scenario, you cannot ride the hot hand. You have to specifically stick to the plan and get Lankinen the starts.
And then you're almost worried too.
You can't
Matt,
let Lankinen
What about
languish.
a hot streak? What about a hot streak in late February, post Olympics, late February across the trade? Like, that's still, you know what? You still have 7 weeks to go before the first game of the playoffs, or 6 weeks to go. Like, you can't get sucked in, because if you start to ride him, he starts 7 straight games in late February into March. Like,
no, can't be.
Can't.
Like, I'm just looking at the start of the season. Calgary, daybreak. Edmonton, daybreak. St. Louis, 2-day break, back-to-back. That's got to be a 3-2.
Yeah.
You want Lankinen to play one of those first 3 games, and he's going to play one of the back-to-backs.
Yeah.
And I think you have to be steadfast this year if you're Adam Foote. This is going to be a big test of a rookie NHL head coach. We know it got away from Tocchet last year. He talked about it. I got to get several times. He said, I got to get Lankinen some breaks, but they couldn't trust Shields.
Everybody's hoping that Demko's,
we saw this with riding Demko too in previous years with previous coaches.
I'm not saying you should cheer that Demko's having a merely good season, not great. Demko can have his .925 save percentage, but you hope, for Kevin Lankinen's sake and for the team's sake, that Lankinen's sitting there at .912 at the very least, something like that, where they have the utmost confidence in those kinds of scenarios that you just outlined. In a 5-game stretch in the middle of the season where Demko's still playing well, saying, nope, we're still giving 2 to Lankinen. He still gives us a very good chance to win.
For sure. That is absolutely.
It has to be the mindset. But Lankinen's got to back that up.
I hate it when you're spot on.
But Lankinen's got to back that up. Like, if he's at .899, that game plan is really tough to.
I think you still have to stick to the plan so long as you are where you hope to be in the standings.
Right. Yes.
If it starts getting away from you in the standings, then I think you have to recalibrate.
Yes.
But so long as you're in the playoffs or playoff adjacent, I think the plan has to be the plan deep into the season, Blake.
Yeah, that's fair.
You don't get into the ain't got time to bleed until March or April. At least you really hope you're not in the ain't got time to bleed position until March or April.
But which makes me think, like in the first half of the season, you got to beat up on the ne'er-do-wells of the division. Like, I know that San Jose and Anaheim and Calgary all have aspirations
You've got
to be
beat
better.
up on the ne'er-do-wells of the schedule.
Right.
That's Calgary.
Yeah.
That's Chicago. That's Pittsburgh. That's Nashville. Like, you have.
Yeah,
I have stopped calling them sitters because in the NHL, anybody can beat anyone on any given night. We've seen this. Even the San Jose's and Chicago's from time to time rise up. But
there's always that one team that dots
teams-
the I's and crosses the T's against those guys. Like there's always a middle class team that has got there because they didn't let the lower class teams beat them at all.
That's right.
And that has to be the
that
Canucks.
they took care of the business
that they could take care
that
of.
was more easily
Yeah.
tended to.
Yeah.
So, yes.
No stinkers versus less than.
1, 2, 3, what did we have? 4? 4 of those games in the first month of the season. And that's, without calling the Rangers out because the Rangers missed last year. But, of course, that's the JT Miller return game here.
Yeah, there's a few dynamics.
On
at play
October
there.
28th.
Yeah.
We have some breaking news, or this was released since we began the show here 40 minutes ago. The Vancouver Canucks have announced their 2025 Prospects Showcase roster. This is the tournament that is taking the place of Young Stars.
Tournament is a big word.
Tournament is actually too kind of word.
Yes.
Too grandiose a word for this. This is 2 games against the Seattle Kraken prospects in Everett and Seattle. And it's really, really too bad that Young Stars isn't still an ongoing thing in Penticton. It was great brand extension for the Vancouver Canucks, for Canucks Sports Entertainment. It was a tremendous economic boost to Penticton, the week after or 2 weeks after Labor Day when the tourist season thins out a bit. Now, Penticton's getting training camp this year, and deservedly so, because the South Okanagan Event Center is an extraordinary facility. In fact, I think you can argue the South Okanagan Event Center is the best facility in British Columbia. If not, it's number 2 after Rogers Arena. Blake, I am absolutely gobsmacked that Elias Pettersson, EPD, is on this roster.
Yeah.
This was a guy that you effectively called a made NHL man last year because he winds up playing as a regular for you in the National Hockey League. And yeah, he was ahead of schedule. Nobody thought that DPD, Elias Pettersson, would be an NHL fixture, but that's what he became. Played 28 games in the National Hockey League last year, and again, towards the end of the season, to the point where you did not send him to Abbotsford for the Calder Cup playoff run, an ultimate victory of that trophy.
And that might be it right there.
And now you're sending him to the Prospects Showcase? That's a little odd.
At first blush, absolutely it is. Here's how I can convince myself that it's okay. Well, A, he didn't play the extended playoff run with the Abbotsford Canucks, so it would have been doubly surprising if he did. But
he played 66 games last year in total, the 38 with Abbotsford, the 28 with the Canucks.
So a bump up for what he's used to, but not a crazy amount of games. Like, that is not a lot of hockey. He may only play...
And Blake, this was after playing just 46 games the previous year,
right?
Mostly in Sweden and a little bit.
So he may only play one of these 2 games.
Oh, sorry, I'm wrong there. It's 50 games the previous year.
He may only play one of these 2 games, and then it's into a, remember, it's about to get down to a 4-game preseason, but it's still only 6. I say only. Used to be 8, 9 sometimes. It's only 6 games, of which he'll play 4 maybe. So that's 5 potentially. It's not crazy. It's not crazy. It extends your calendar year a little bit because you're getting back ready a week before your big league teammates are amongst themselves. So that makes it seem a little bit more than it is. But I'm surprised, but I'm not. I don't think there's a detriment there. I don't think there's necessarily a downsize.
Yeah, look. I'm not sure the kid has earned the wherewithal to consider this an ego blow.
No.
But I am because he's the one name that stands out here, right? Like he's of all the names, Mike, can you bring the visual back? He is the one name on this list.
Well, Lekkerimäki too. I'm a little surprised by Lekkerimäki as well.
Well, no, but Lekkerimäki is fighting for and probably unlikely to earn a job on the opening night roster or lineup.
Yeah.
DPD is inked in, no?
Probably. You'd think
Like,
so.
he would have to have a really shitty camp for them to say, no, son, you're starting in Abbotsford and we're going to go with Pierre-Olivier Joseph as our third pair left side guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Am I missing any? Or Forbert as the third pair left side guy? Yeah, maybe that's it.
See, like what I would...
Maybe this is the carrot that, hey, we got Forbert, we got Joseph, two veterans that we're comfortable with. You still got to go earn it in this game.
Yeah, and that might be it.
Okay.
That might be it. Like, I would have played him in the playoffs, in the AHL playoffs. Like,
I think a lot of people were surprised they didn't,
Yeah.
and especially after they weren't able to get Tom Willander signed and dispatch him to Abbotsford.
and
Now,
they
it didn't
never-
matter. They still lifted a trophy.
They never said this, and I've got no evidence of it. I wonder if he had a nagging something, and they were like, you know what, we're not going to bother. We're not going to wait this out.
Lekramaki is by all means the other name because of draft position,
And he's just done it. He's done it.
prospect status, and,
Yeah.
and let's remember, like, Lekramaki wasn't great last year in the
No.
playoffs for this team, so he's still in the show me realm. There is a job available on the wing with the Vancouver Canucks. It means beating out the likes of a Max Sasson, an Archie Baines, a Linus Karlsson. He's in the mix there. But if I'm betting right now, I would bet Lekramaki starts in the AHL, not the NHL.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair.
Now, some other names I just want to highlight on this list. Vilmer Ulrichsen remains a fascination because there just aren't many hockey players walking around who are 6'6", 235 at 20 years of
Well,
age.
forwards especially. You get the stout defensemen sometimes, but you don't see a lot of forwards.
This is a Swedish winger who had a very nice season in his move over to the OHL, and that's the other thing you like here. This is a Swedish kid who decided, no, I'm not going to play pro hockey back home. I'm going to go on over to the CHL or junior hockey back home. He had a very nice first season with the Guelph Storm. He got hurt last year and was traded, but he still managed 35 points in 43 games. And he's got the thing you can't teach, size. A fourth-round pick here in the 2023 entry draft. I am interested to track his progress. Now, Braden Coots is there, the first-round pick from this past year, as you would anticipate, as are some other draft picks. Tom Willander is on this list. That's another guy who could be vying for an NHL job straight out of camp.
He's being asked to come back. So he did the whole AHL playoff run, and he's still being asked to come back.
Except he only dipped toe in the NHL. They gave him games when the season was...
No, I'm saying he played that extended AHL season.
No,
he went all the way deep.
But what I'm saying is, for me, DPD and Kudryavtsev, one of these things is not like the other. Kudryavtsev got basically you've had a good season, son. We're going to reward you with a couple of NHL games, whereas DPD became a fixture in the lineup.
No, but in terms of just coming to this prospect showcase, I just look at it in terms of quantity of hockey. Kudryavtsev, you know what he is, and again, it's probably one or two games for guys like DPD and Kudryavtsev. They might not play both nights, so it's not an extra burden. But
I'll say this, Blake.
They know what he is.
When it was called Young Stars and it was in your backyard in British Columbia, I don't remember this level of player being in the tournament.
They didn't really own those. Those were darker years.
Very thin. No, but I don't remember, and I stand to be corrected here. Might be somebody in the South Okanagan who says, no, Matty, they had so-and-so who played 40 NHL games prior to playing in a prospect tournament. But I don't remember a level of player of Elias Pettersson when it was Youngsters. But Kudryavtsev there, yeah, that deserves mention. We'll see what Minio can do. That would be a very nice. He's kind of the next one in this litany of young Canucks defensemen who have really developed and pushed. DPD, Kudryavtsev. See what Minio can do, of course, with Willander as well. And the goaltenders, Aku Koskinvo, who, of course, is signed now after his college hockey days, and Alexei Medvedev, the second-round pick.
The character that is
will be going
Alexei
back
Medvedev.
to, yes. Although I see, let me just mention this because this could be current. They're listing Ulrichsen at 214 pounds. His hockey DB page lists him at 235. Did this kid drop 20 pounds?
No.
Or are they just going on an old, like,
yes.
hockey does that all the time.
Yeah.
Where you give the height and weight when the kid was drafted.
Kids don't drop weight. go to the heavy.
There may have been a world where someone around him said,
Kids drop weight when they grow.
You just don't move well enough. You've got to drop.
If he was listed at 6'1" and then 6'6" and he dropped weight, then I would believe because, they grow, they burn. But
so there you have it. And this tournament will be in British Columbia next year. It's a 2-year deal with the Kraken to, again, tournament this weekend.
event
of 2 hockey games will be in British Columbia next year. But the deal calls for it to be in Seattle and Everett this year. The group is going to practice in Abbotsford on the 11th of September and on the 12th, the Friday, and then travel to Everett to take on the Kraken prospects on the Saturday night, and then they're back Sunday. It's an afternoon game, so it was less than 24 hours, so I think you're right. There will be a bunch of guys who only play one of these 2 games, the Prospect Showcase.
can't wait.
No, I can wait. It's not Young Stars. It's not in Penn.
It's true.
All right, let's get to today's menu. It's brought to you by our friends at Greta. Greta, a fantastic spot to watch all the games, home and away. It's also a fantastic spot to pregame or postgame. You were mere steps from the arena or stadium. Got a couple of big games going on this weekend at BC Place. But it's an even better spot if you're organizing a gathering, a summer sociable. Maybe your ball team's done. You want to go out for a fun evening. Maybe it's a professional thing, a team building event. Check out Greta, the fantastic street food menu. Was it birria? The beef, Mexican beef, the birria tacos. Is that right?
Maybe.
Mike, you shaking your head?
It sounds right, yeah, and they're delicious.
Yeah. It's like shredded pork, but it's shredded beef.
Birra, maybe?
Birra?
Yeah. Anyway.
Birra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got to work on my Espanol.
Yes, apparently.
The birra tacos are amazing. Smash burger, delicious. And then you get to the arcade. And whether you're like an old school Nintendo gaming system person, or you're new school, or you like the cockpit games, or you like the participatory games, Papa Shot, air hockey, they've got a game for you. Your group will have loads of fun. It is absolutely guaranteed. For more info to book your event, go to gretabar.com. Don't forget about bottomless wings for $25. 50 West Cordova. Greta, let the games begin. Cam Robinson is going to join us coming up here. Of course, the Director of Content and Film Scouting for Elite Prospects. It's been a couple of weeks since we talked with Cam. He, while we're talking about all the subjects from yesterday, the Elias Pettersson and all the weight he's gained, the additional strength, we'll point forward to Elias's line here. Besser, we think, is pretty much a fixture there on the right side. We know that Brock very much missed JT Miller last year. He's got to play with a creative centerman. Didn't really work out as well with Philip Hedl. Is it going to be DeBrusk on that left wing? Is it Vander Kane? So we'll talk to Cam about all that, plus the goaltending arrangement. And Elite Prospects came out with their prospect pool rankings, and the Vancouver Canucks make their top 20. And that is real estate that the Vancouver Canucks prospect pool did not obtain with other outlets ranking prospects. So a great conversation with Cam coming up here. Final segment, we'll talk about that Monday nighter briefly, ever so briefly.
Was there a football game last
Wasn't
night?
a great game, Blake, really, if you skipped it. Big weekend of baseball ahead where the Jays can do the Mariners a big favor, plus the Canadian men's national team, which is in action as we speak against Wales in a pretty sizable friendly here in front of a full stadium as they get ready for the World Cup. Plenty going on. Lions have made some moves here. Plenty going on in a very busy time for the world of sports. So looking forward to all of that. It's all coming up on the show today. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. Man, I was looking really great on that Monday night under last night until J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings scored all those points in the fourth quarter. And now I hate him. And I hate that.
I think you hate him anyway, but yes.
Yeah. So you fire first, but I don't even know if you won or lost, but you don't remember either. Let's face it. So you go first.
It's in action. I did Canada. So
Okay.
The pitching matchup for the Jays tomorrow. Shane Bieber on the bump.
Tomorrow, not today. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Giving you some leeway here. It's not a gaudy number on the over-under for strikeouts, but to me it's a tap-in. Shane Bieber needs 5 strikeouts to hit the over.
Hold on. I am seeing Bieber listed as the starter today, but I've also seen Barrios listed as the starter today.
It was Barrios today. But
Okay.
yeah.
No, because if you miss this, on Friday of last week, the Blue Jays had Scherzer lined up to pitch Saturday and Bassett lined up to pitch Sunday, and then they changed it. They said, no, Bassett's going to go Saturday, Scherzer's going to go Sunday because Max felt something in his neck or something like that. No, it is Bieber today, Blake. They've done it again. They've flipped.
As of this morning, it was Barrios.
It was
sure.
Barrios this morning as
Yeah.
the listed starter. You're quite right. It's Bieber tomorrow. Or it's Bieber today. I guess Barrios tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Now I don't even know. Take the over, whatever it is. Guy wants to throw more gas against a decent team like Houston. He wants to keep the ball away from him. Go take the over.
Cincinnati and San Diego are both in a playoff race in the National League, and Cincinnati has to get to some winning here. Zach Littell, they acquired him from Tampa around the trade deadline. He has been very good, despite the fact that he's given up some home runs, and Cincinnati's a home run park. But they're in San Diego tonight with a tougher hitters environment. And look, San Diego's got a good pitcher going in King, but I'm getting plus 160 on a Reds team with Littell. So I'm going to go there. Like me, that plus value on good pitchers, and particularly with teams that have some degree of urgency. So we're going to go there. Boy, this Blue Jays rotation thing is going to be a trip for the next few weeks here, Blake.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to run a narrow channel here and feather a nest where they're able to set up a playoff rotation. But, of course, they still have to win the division first. And if you win the division, and particularly with the record the Jays have now, you don't have to play that first round series.
Barrios to the bullpen.
You got to be one of the first two teams there and get the bye. The Scherzer neck.
Nobody's pitched.
Bieber coming back off long-term injury, right? So
Nobody's pitched more innings than Barrios over the last, 2-3 seasons.
Well, he's a workhorse. That's what he does.
But I think we're finally seeing that crash. So put him in the bullpen for the next few weeks.
This segment, a presentation of Bet365, whatever your bet. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Cam Robinson coming up next. Secure some price from the historic Wall Center, and this show is brought to you by Simply Spiked. Enjoy every juicy drop all season long with Simply Spiked, available in 3 delicious flavors. We've been telling you about Simply Spiked Lemonade, the OG classic, Simply Spiked Peach, sweet and juicy, and the new Simply Spiked Limeade, perfectly sweet and tart. It's a favorite of ours.
And there's 3 flavors within those flavors. So you never get bored. And maybe you need to dive into this and show your friends about Simply Spiked too. It's been around since 2023. Almost said 19. That would have been a long, long time. 2023, made with real juice. The juice experts make sure that it tastes just right for you. Natural ingredients. It's delicious. It's refreshing. Pick up a variety pack to try each of those flavor quadrants, and then tell everybody about how great it is, because it is perfect for your next hangout. Pick up Simply Spiked at your local liquor store. Must be legal drinking age. Please celebrate responsibly. Simply Spiked.
As we welcome in the director of film scouting and content for elite prospects, it is fantastic to have Cam Robinson back again this season. My dude, how are you? How was your end of summer?
No, I'm doing well. Yeah, end of summer was good. We had finished with a little heat wave there. I got to get the pool down now, though. It's over. We're at the rink every morning. Nobody's swimming. It's just starting to grow algae. So summer's over. Let's get rolling on hockey.
It's a great duck pond, though. It's a great.
Yes, yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Cam, we saw your tweet yesterday. We used it in the show about Elias Pettersson adding this 13 pounds of strength from 161 on draft day to 190 today. Finally, the strength to match his skill. When you watched him play and struggle over the last year and a half, was strength for you the biggest shortcoming? And tell us how you found that manifesting itself.
Yeah, I think just he's been able to thrive throughout his career, and even going back to Sweden, being undersized, and he's had to utilize what strength he had in different ways. He had to be smarter, he had to be quicker to pucks, he had to get leverage on inside. And so through the course of an NHL season, you get worn down, especially when you're matching up against other teams' top centers, big defensemen. It burns you out as the season wears along, and also it's really difficult to even like maintain the weight you have throughout a season. So adding this, adding 13 pounds of muscle.
It's a store.
Right, exactly, right? It's you're stored up for winter. But, adding 13 pounds of muscle is probably a little hyperbolic there, is that it's really difficult to add that much pure muscle, but he has such a wiry frame that it takes guys. I've been saying it for years that, it might take him until his mid to late 20s before he can get that kind of like that man body on him. And so now we see it 8 years later, playing at 190, if he can maintain that or even live in that 185 to 190 range, I think it's going to just provide him more gas at the end of the season and into the playoffs, allow him to potentially be a little bit quicker if some of that weight is in the lower half. I know people are like, I wonder if he'll be able to maintain his speed. It's not like someone coming into camp at 235 that traditionally plays at 210, and now you're like really trying to lug weight up and down the ice. This is still slightly below average for an NHL player at 6'2". So I think he's still going to be, lean and mean. I think he's going to be quicker. I think he's going to be stronger. I think he's going to be better in board battles. And that's what you're hoping. And then you hope he can maintain that and maybe even build on it a little bit next summer too.
Well, he had talked to Cam about how genetically this has been difficult for him. So needless to say, something was unlocked working with that group in Stockholm for off-season training this summer.
Yeah, and like I mentioned too, is that sometimes it just takes longer for bodies to be able to physically put it on, right?
Yeah.
So when you're working out, you need to eat so many calories to put on weight when you have certain body types, when your metabolism runs at a really high level. And so I remember myself, I had a really, really fast metabolism all through my teens. I couldn't put on any weight. I lived at 170 pounds at 6'3". And then all of a sudden, when I was about 20, I could put on weight. And then I put on weight quickly, and then I had to scale it back down a little bit because it was too easy. And then you find your happy medium. And so for him, I think I'm sure credit to the training staff there working with him, credit to how much food he must have been stuffing in his mouth to gain 13 pounds over that summer too. And then, just hopefully that's just his genetics finally kind of catching up and his metabolism slowing a little bit and allowing him to add that
you have the genetic predisposition, and you're a world-class athlete means you're absolutely revving up your metabolism. It's super tough to keep up with. I think back to Pavl Bure, who didn't arrive with the pugnaciousness necessarily that he had in the middle and late parts of his career, certainly the middle part. And I don't know that Pettersson ever gets quite to Pavl Bure's ferocity, but he does seem to like throwing the pre-hit, and he doesn't mind a shoulder-to-shoulder hit from time to time. If he's got a little extra weight, that might pack a little bit of a punch. Not that he's going to be Tom Wilson, but, it adds something to his game that we haven't seen.
Without question, for sure, because he does for a skill player. He has jam, right? We've seen him catch guys and blow them up, but the key is he's got to catch them, right? If they're ready for him, then it's not going to work. But I always think back to Brian Burke's book when he was talking about himself as a player too. In his first year at Providence, there, he weighed 173 pounds or something, and he was trying to hit guys, and he's by his fourth year, he was up to 190, and he's now when I hit him, it hurt, right? And now you're letting guys know that you're on the ice, and that's where you need to get to. You need to have enough heft behind those checks that you don't need to just catch them with their head down or look in the other direction. You can just come in and catch them and burn them while they're looking at you and prepared for it too.
If it's core weight and trunk weight, does he stay on his feet more? Do you think that happens?
Yeah, absolutely, right? Having a strong lower half and having that strong core, it's massive too, right? And I also find that when you're stronger, you're less upright. You have a little more depth in your stride, and you're just able to stay in that lower stance a little bit with the stronger muscles, and so now you can get under position on people better too. And if you're maybe not paying attention, that you're just generally sturdier when you take a hit as well.
Yep, the Marty St. Louis sort of physique that no one can quite get to. But
the big question here, though, is should his new theme song be Stronger by Kelly Clarkson, or should he go with the Kanye West Stronger? What do you think?
Too much politics with the latter. So
Kelly Clarkson.
Gotta go Kelly Clarkson.
all day,
Roger
right?
Serena.
His walk-up song.
That's
yes.
right.
There you go.
Kelly
Whatever kills
Clarkson.
Yeah. What doesn't kill you. Do you think he can find chemistry with Besser again? And when those two were working well back in the Lotto Line days, Cam, what did that look like? How did they complement each other's games?
I can tell you exactly what they were doing that was complementing each other's games is they were both lethal shooters, and teams had to respect both of their shots. And I think that Brock is an underrated playmaker, and I think Elias is a clear playmaker too. So when you have those abilities on both sides of the ice, teams can't sag off. They can't, 2-on-1 guys, because now a 40-goal threat is sitting on the other side waiting to unleash. And so if you can find that ability for them to both be generating 3 shots a game, which is, there's only one puck to go around. So it is hard for line mates to often get up to that level. But it is, if you play a fast-paced, up-tempo style that generates a lot of shots off the rush, can maintain possession in the offensive zone for long periods of time, and then you add somebody who can do kind of the heavy lifting, that digger work, so that those guys can pop out into those pockets. So whether that's Jake DeBrusk, whether that's Evander Kane, whether that's Connor Garland, I think probably more likely the first two I mentioned there too, is that somebody that can do the heavy lifting, create a little bit of space for them, and then they both need to shoot like their lives depend on it. Because I think how those two, the goal totals that they put up this season, will be really indicative of how the Canucks year goes. Obviously, what health and net is going to be a big question as well. But if those two can score 30 plus goals, maybe push into the 40-goal range, I think that the team will be successful and be a playoff team.
He's got a reputation in our minds, I think, as being injury-riddled, Elias Pettersson. Yet, last year, of course, it's really just at the end that he misses games. He plays 64, and the three seasons previous to that, 80, 80, and 82.
Yeah.
But it still feels like he's always healing from something. Have we now put enough distance between the key injuries, particularly the wrist and knee, that we should expect him to be as free as he's ever been, to shoot more like you talked about, and be a little bit quicker, because we saw that speed go down as well? Is it fair to assume that those things are now fully behind him?
I mean, I'm not sure it's fair to assume it, but he said that this summer he had no limitations, that he was able to push in the summer like he hadn't been able to in previous years. And so I think that tells us that he is feeling healthy, and that the knee feels good, and that, hopefully the wrist feels good too. It's been a little while since that wrist was really bugging him, but yes, I that's the expectation, is that he's going to be coming into camp, and he's going to be heavier, he's going to be stronger, and preferably quicker as well. This is, it's Quinn Hughes' team, but up front, this is now his squad up front, right? With JT gone, all that drama hopefully in the rearview mirror now. The onus is on him to be a star level producer, and someone who can also match up too, right? And it's a tall order to ask from any player, but he has the skill. He's proven it before. We've seen him. He can shut down players on the opposition, the best team, and he can turn around and he can bury it on his own too. So that's the level of player that they're paying him to be, and that's the level of player he needs to be.
That's a very underrated point that you've made, Cam, because in all the talk of the Elias Pettersson revenge tour, the thing that has to be understood in the context of being as thin at center ice as they are is there are going to be exceedingly difficult matchups that Elias has to play on the defensive end. I know you feel comfortable with Bluger matching up against some guys because Teddy is such a good shadow defensive centerman. But yeah, there will be shifts where he's playing a lot of it in his own zone or on his own side of ice, and that's going to put more pressure on him to convert when they do carry the play and have the puck in the offensive zone.
Exactly, right? Is that it's not just keeping your head above water. It's being able to then push it back, right? Because you play a team like Edmonton, it's like Bluger can go ahead and line up against Draisaitl if he wants, but someone's got to take McDavid or vice versa. Right. And you need to have your star player winning head-to-head matchups more often than not. And that's what they're going to have to expect from Elias.
Who do you like as the third wheel on that line? Should they load it up and play DeBrusk on the left side? And if not, who would be a good alternative in your eye?
Yeah, I think it's going to be DeBrusk or it's going to be Evander Kane. I think they'll give them both looks in that spot. When they signed Jake, it was to play with Elias. And so he did get lots of minutes with them last year. It was on and off, but I think you just kind of forget about last season and start the slate clean. And really it'll be who finds that chemistry with them. And so if it's Evander, like he brings speed, he brings tenacity. He also has a shot, not so much of a playmaker, where I think DeBrusk is has a little bit more playmaking to his game. Both are good at the net front. So personally, I would probably start with DeBrusk in that spot, and I would have Kane on the second line, maybe across from Garland. And then you're going to have to mix and match if things don't kind of jump off the page right early in the season, because you need a quick start. You don't want to get trapped behind, and you want to have that top line rolling, because unfortunately that second line is going to be light until you can make a change at center ice.
Who's winning the board battle? Who's getting the retrieval on that line if they go with that?
It's got to be one of those guys, right?
I think that's the case for Kane.
Line? Yeah, it's
right?
got to be Kane.
Yeah. Is that the case for Kane over DeBrusk? That he's the more the puck retrieval?
If you go DeBrusk, like, what does that even look like? Like, is it that has to just be razzle dazzle at that point? That's I don't know that you've got the right guys there to have all facets.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. I think that Kane, when inspired, absolutely would be a better board worker and scrambler, and someone who can kind of do some of that heavy lifting. As long as he's engaged and he's physically in there and he's motivated, that he would be a better option purely for that regard. I think DeBrusk has probably the better hands and the better playmaking to set up the shooters there as well, because you don't want Pettersson doing that dirty work. You can't have that. You need him freed up at least a little bit so that he can shoot it from pockets of space too. So that's why I think that they definitely will give Kane a look. But like I said, there were promises made to DeBrusk, so I'm sure he will get lots of chances to make that successful as well.
Jake needs to download a little Louis to his game, and then they've got a top line.
Right?
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
What, in an ideal world where both goaltenders are healthy this season, what do you think is the ideal division of starts between Thatcher Demko and Kevin Lankinen?
I'd want Thatcher playing, if he's healthy and he's playing well, I'd want him playing 50. I'd want him seeing 50 starts. I probably wouldn't push too much higher than that. If it's 52, 53, I think that's fine, which means Lankinen's got to play 30, which means, he's got to at least win 15 sort of thing. That's what you're looking for from your 1A, 1B, or your backup in that situation. So I think that we're going to see a rejuvenated Thatcher Demko, an inspired Thatcher Demko. I think that I'd heard kind of around the way there that he was maybe a little miffed that he didn't get that invite to Team USA either, and that he's looking to prove them wrong as well. And just for his career here too, is that we're a little over a year removed from him being a runner-up in the Vezina Trophy, and now all of a sudden he's not a top level goaltender in his own country. So I'm expecting some big things. We're talking revenge tour from Petey. I think we might see a little revenge from Thatcher Demko too, but I would caution against, even if he is running hot and he has a 918 or a 922 save percentage, that you don't end up in April that he's got 60 games under his belt, because then he's not fresh. I think keeping him under 55 would be a real goal for the organization as long as he's healthy.
Fair to say for Lankinen, too, after watching him, he's definitely not a 20-game, 25-game backup, but he's not a 39-game backup either, right? He enjoys regular work, but he doesn't like to be the guy for a long stretch. 30 to 35 would seem about right for Lankinen, given what we've learned over the last year, no?
Yeah, even 25 to 30, right? I think the true value with him is that if something goes wrong, if Demko goes out for a month, or if he gets cold, that he is capable of taking the ball, right? Yeah. And taking it and running with it for 2, 3, 4 weeks and giving you above average goaltending for that time. But if you're asking him to do that for 3, 4 months, it's just, I think it's above his weight class. So his value there is that when it's time for him to start those 25, 30 games, that you're going to likely get a quality start or something close to it. And if something falls apart, that he's there and he can handle a heavier workload for a duration anyways.
And can you make the argument that both goalies will have an easier job given the defense in front of them is improved?
Presumably, right? It is the D-core is pretty strong there. I think Marcus Pettersson is an underrated asset that they've added to that group. You would hope so too. Structurally, hopefully that It'll be really interesting to see because they will have to. They are going to have to free flow a little bit as well too to score some goals with that offensive team there, especially once you get past that first line. It's like, do you want to play 2-1 hockey or do you want to play 4-3 hockey? So they're going to have to figure out their identity underfoot here too.
All right, the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. Sidney Crosby, Cam. His agent says deserves to play in the playoffs. Anything is possible. Management group here knows him quite well. Won cups with him.
The answer used to be he wants to finish his career as a Penguin, and now it's anything is possible.
Yes. So, should the Canucks make a huge offer, a Godfather offer, Cam, to the Penguins for Sidney Crosby?
They can make any offer they want, and I don't think it's getting it done. There are so many teams out there that have packages that could actually get Pittsburgh thinking about it if Sid came to them and said, you know what, I want another chance at a title here. That because it's like, what are you going to do from Vancouver? Are you going to trade Quinn Hughes? No, obviously not, right? Are you going to move Pettersson out for Sidney Crosby? That doesn't help you.
No.
They just don't have assets, right?
You
like
trade
you can line up
you trade everyone else.
Right? You can line up Coots and Lankinen and Tom Willander and Garland, and it just won't get
That's
it
right.
done.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cam, you have no vision. You have no vision, sir.
Atu
This is to
Ratu
keep
as the
Quinn
main
Hughes
piece.
in Vancouver. This is to bring the golden child back to the site of the golden goal with management that he knows, right? And it's to
Sign
win
me
that
up.
Stanley Cup in Canada for the first time since 1993, which would be the ultimate feather.
You
in
watch the
87's
package that
Cup.
Montreal would offer, hey, and have them go to Montreal to do that.
That would be the chief competition. That would be the chief competition.
Yes,
yeah,
but Montreal's going to go out and blow all their assets on Mason McTavish, and so then the pathway for Sydney and Vancouver arises, right?
Okay. I gotta get someone. You're smoking there, Matt. I'm interested. That sounds like a good time, though. Yeah.
Lastly,
You're on a golf island. Of course you're interested.
Former golf island.
in fact, what's growing in your backyard, Cam Robinson?
I got
stories about
tomatoes,
you,
strawberries,
you Gulf Island
cucumbers.
people.
Yeah.
Lastly, you and the folks at Elite Prospects were very kind to the Vancouver Canucks in terms of their prospect pool rankings. Mm-hmm. Cam, I've been following all the different outlets that have been publishing these sorts of rankings over the last few weeks, and I don't think I've seen any of them have the Canucks as a top 20 prospect pool. Tell us about the ranking and how you got to putting them in the top 20, aggressive as that may look to when compared with others.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out too that I'm sure a bunch of people, because I did the write up for it as well. I did the lead and some of the write ups on the players, so they're probably like, "Oh, Cam was just pumping up the Canucks and getting them up higher." I had nothing to do with where they landed in the rankings there too. Yeah, in the actual number too. So we were very, very high as a group on Braden Coots. So he slotted in immediately as the top prospect in them, and I believe he was like top 45 league wide in our top 100 affiliated players, and then followed quickly by Lankinen, who was another top 50 player, Tom Willander, who was a top 60 player, and then Medvedev too came in as I think 10 or 12th for goaltending prospects too. So those four right there, that kind of builds the crux of it and really vaulted them up. Now last year we had them, I believe, 21. This year they edged up a little bit to 22, and I think a big part of that is for the first time since I believe 2019, I should have read my own work back before this, they picked in the first and the second round. That hadn't happened in close to 5 or 6 years. So adding the potentially star level talent that they have over the last couple of years, and then some more depth. Kravtsov making big steps forward. That's not even counting Elias Pettersson, the defenseman too. So there is some assets here. I think that there's some solid depth. There isn't clear superstars here, but there are players that could potentially play in your top 6 and in your top 4. It's still in the bottom third of the league, so let's not get too excited here. But it is coming along, and I think the credit, credit should be given to the scouting staff for identifying some players with some higher end talent.
Did DPD count? Cam, or had he graduated as you guys seen it? Okay.
Yeah, he graduated. Yeah.
All right. But I'm imagining the guys who, have dipped toe, guys like Kravtsov and stuff, they must have counted, right?
Yes.
Kravtsov, Linus Carlson. Did Linus Carlson
He's
count?
25.
Assassin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Linus Karlsson. Kudryavtsev was right there.
Minio, of course.
Yeah. Klimovic, Romani, Parker Alkos is another player that like Mitch Brown has scouted for years and really is interested in him, and I think is an intriguing guy that could play NHL minutes too. Matthew Lansing this year I think could play NHL minutes. So there's guys that could end up having roles down the line, and that value there is something that we account for.
Yeah, and I saw Sherratt, one of their draft picks, is doing fantastic in OHL preseason. Interesting because you guys aren't as high on Willander as others, right? Is that because what we've talked about with Tom in the past, Cam, that you just don't see a high-end offensive defenseman there and that limits the ceiling?
Yeah, I'm more bullish on him than the group in general is, and we've had our internal debates on that too. I think that Tom is so intelligent and so mobile, and he's improved his puck handling skills that I think that he has a top 4 future. And that doesn't mean he's going to be a 45 or 50 point getter, but there's still going to be a lot of value to the game that he brings, and that will be, puck mobility. He can move it with his feet, with his hands, and he can shut down guys. I think with his intelligence, his body position, his work ethic, I do think he's going to be a higher player. I probably would have had him ranked personally ahead of Lankinen. I think he's a higher, a better pure prospect than Lankinen.
Well, I'm with you there.
What's your over-under for games for Willander this year? What do you think?
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be low. I don't
like
think
20?
Yeah, I would take the under on 20. How about that? I think that it's maybe he had himself. I should have checked in before this, but maybe before next week I'll see how his summer went and really kind of get some inside scoop on that too, and see how he's looking at camp, because there is a world where he can be like, wow, he took another big step forward and he is right on the bubble, and then maybe we could see him get up and play 30-40 games through injury or if he really explodes. But I think that the AHL is a great place for him to be this year. Get used to that pro style hockey. It's a difficult league. You're going to have to play against really good opponents as well too, and then 26-27 have him elevate up.
And just before you go, just because of where you work, have you crossed
questions today? Look at you.
Have you crossed paths with any of your European colleagues on Vitali Kravtsov? That anybody had any opinion on what he might bring to the table here?
Yeah, I talked to our Russian guy about it right when he came back and signed back over too. And I checked with some people over there that just not even with EP that watch that more than I do. Is that he definitely took steps forward when he was back home. And the work rate that went up, and I think that needed to go up. Number one thing that needed to happen too. And so I do think that there is a job to be had for Vitali Kravtsov here, and we'll pay probably one spot up for grabs between him and Lankinen, and Kravtsov should have the upper hand on that too. That he could be a really intriguing kind of third line guy, top 9 guy for you.
Every Tuesday this hockey season with Cam Robinson for a second year in a row here on Sekeres and Price. And frankly, based on what we saw last year, we should have started with Cam much earlier than that. You know how long we've been on you. Since Prince was on Apollonia.
There you go.
Since OJ had isotoners.
We're dropping the Kanye.
Exactly.
Another Kanye reference.
Look, hate the artist, love the art. It's a great song. I would vote for his stronger over
epic song.
Kelly's.
Sure.
Thanks, Cam.
Appreciate it, boys. Looking forward to the season.
Sekeres and Price from the historic Wall Center. Game night. Make it a game weekend. Turn that ticket into a downtown getaway. Maybe this weekend you got big games Friday, Saturday. A special Sekeres and Price rate awaits at the Wall Center. Book now, 604-331-1000. Just say you heard it here. Some blackout date supply based on availability. Well, NFL Week 1 ends with another big fourth quarter comeback in prime time.
Any of the details you want to get into, or who the participants?
J.J. McCarthy, loved him at Michigan. Big Michigan fan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was who's on the other side though? God damn.
They raced an 11-point deficit. They beat the Bears 27-24 at Soldier Field. Caleb Williams looked great early, completing his first 10 passes, leading an opening drive touchdown. The Bears didn't do that last year.
For three-quarter NFL games, Caleb Williams is one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
I said to a friend after he went, 7 for 7 on that opening drive and ran it in for the score. That might be the single best quarterbacking drive I've seen in 45 years of watching this team. It all went downhill from there. McCarthy looked great late, throwing for 2 scores, running for another in the final stands
At
up.
halftime, neither was covered in glory. Like the criticisms that I was seeing online were like, I don't think either of these QBs looks ready for prime time here.
Yeah,
They had their moments, but neither one of them was amazing.
North Vancouver's Theo Benedette. Well, he didn't win the starting left tackle job for Chicago. We had tracked that story in training camp. He made a hell of a push. But he did feature extensively last night as an extra offensive lineman / tight end in the jumbo packages. You were telling me there was a watch party at Handsworth for him.
Involving the Handsworth folks.
Of course, Handsworth grad. And his fellow UBC Thunderbird, Giovanni Manu, did dress for the Detroit Lions Sunday in their loss to Green Bay. We tracked the progress of both of these young men from our community, Manu from Pitt Meadows. And there you have it, 2 Thunderbirds in NFL uniforms on NFL sidelines, just 2 years removed from Blake Nill's program on the Point Grey campus. So congratulations to both of them. Yeah. Seahawks licking their wounds following that opening loss to San Francisco. They're en route to Pittsburgh for the Steelers home opener and Rodgers' debut in Pittsburgh for
He can't be as good as he was, right? He can't duplicate
4
that.
touchdowns. There is some good news, however, for Seattle in terms of, and they're the only NFC West team to lose in week 1. The other 3 won. But the 49ers got awfully banged up in this game. Brock Purdy emerged from the game, their quarterback, with shoulder and toe injuries. Tight end George Kittle will miss 3 to 5 weeks with a hamstring injury. Sounds like their fine receiver, Juwan Jennings, avoided a serious shoulder injury, but he's nicked. And, of course, Christian McCaffrey was, too. He's a late addition to the injury report. He did play in the game, but he does not ever hold up. And there you have a graphic from Warren Sharp. I enjoy following his content on the NFL. You just take a look at how injured San Francisco has been over the years. Most injured team last year, inside the top 10 in 6 of the last 7 seasons for the 49ers. Bad news for Seattle this week. The rest of the division, oh my God, what a schedule. San Francisco at New Orleans. New Orleans may just be the worst team in football. If not, maybe it's Tennessee. That's where the Rams are this weekend.
Oh, gosh.
And Arizona gets Carolina at home, coming off a big loss to Jacksonville.
I mean, they definitely have the stiffest test, but let's not act like the Steelers are all of a sudden contenders.
Well, I mean, they typically are in the playoffs each and every year. I mean, the defense looks fantastic, although it wasn't full glory in the first half against the Jets. And if they've solved quarterbacking,
I can't see it. I think they're a middling team, but
BC Lions with some fortification, signing former Dallas Cowboys draft pick Bradley Anai. He's a pass rusher who also spent some time with the 49ers, Falcons, and Jets. Also signed an offensive lineman. They host Ottawa Friday night for College Clash Night, where there's a Pamela Anderson look-alike contest.
wow.
A frat wedding with Flip Cup, and the UBC Marching Band, along with other festivities on the plaza. If you're sitting there going, a Pamela Anderson look-alike contest? What the heck? She was, of course, discovered on the big screen at a BC Lions.
And that's what you're trying to look like, or are we talking bangs, no makeup like she is now? Because she's...
I am not familiar with the contest rules, Blake.
Changed her look.
I have a feeling that all versions of Pamela Anderson through her career will be accepted, though. I mean, how can you not?
She's getting rave reviews for her recent career turn. She's done a
Yes.
bunch of movies lately. She's done well.
Baseball, where the Jays can do the Mariners a big favor this week. They begin a 3-game set with Houston at Rogers Center tonight. The M's chasing the Astros for the AL West, 2 games back after beating St. Louis in the first of a 7-game homestand last night. Josh Naylor with another stolen base, his 25th. He also had the go-ahead double. The Canadian has been an excellent addition, deadline addition for Seattle since coming over from Arizona. There was a terrific piece in The Athletic, and the headline was like, he's big, he's slow, and he steals bases. And it talked about how Josh Naylor is just a perceptive guy. He has a great read on pitchers and catchers.
That's
and
great.
He knows,
I love it.
Yeah, he's just a good base. There are baseball people who will tell you, you don't need to be blazing fast to be a good base runner, and Josh Naylor is proof positive.
In many
of
sports,
that.
we say this: you don't need to be blazing fast if you have
the mind.
If you have the mind,
and he clearly does. Jose Barrios, who lasted just 2 innings in his last start, gets the toes the rubber for Toronto tonight against Luis Garcia. For Houston, it's George Kirby on the mound for the M's. He's pitching to get into that playoff rotation. Seattle still 1.5 games ahead of Texas in the wildcard race. The Rangers won last night too, and then everybody will be following the history or potential history this week at T-Mobile. With 53 home runs, Cal Raleigh is 1 home run away from tying the great Mickey Mantle for the most home runs by a switch hitter in a single season. And we're talking about a record that's stood for 70 years here. 60, 70 years. And he's 3 away from tying Ken Griffey Jr. for the franchise record. So a chance to, he's making history seemingly with every swing right now, Cal Raleigh. En route to the American League MVP. Be very surprised at this stage of the game if he doesn't win the American League.
he's got an outside shot at 62.
Mm-hmm. Very outside.
Yeah, he'd have to be rip-roaring hot.
He needs 9 home runs in the final, 19, 20 games.
Yeah.
But, he's gotten that. He's gone on those sorts of runs.
Yeah,
here.
you never know.
Player awards from the Vancouver Canadians following their season. MVP Victor Arias, who was called up to Double-A early. I think the Jays may have a player there. He's really small, but, man, he packs some punch. Offensive Player of the Year, Cutter Coffey. We love his name. Pitcher of the Year, Fernando Perez. He was also promoted earlier this season to Double-A. And fan favorite, we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Course.
Eddie Micheletti. They love to chant his name. He loves the interplay with the crowd. Sean Keyes named the final Northwest League Player of the Week. We mentioned his franchise record for the Seas, 19 home runs this year. As always, it was such a great time at the Nat. Thank you to the Seas for their continued support of Sekeres and Price. Next season's home opener is April 7th. Guarantee your seats for that one and those sold-out games throughout the summer. Call 604-872-5232 or CanadiansBaseball.com. Canadian men's national team playing Wales as we speak in the second of 2 Euro friendlies, coming off that 3-0 spanking of Romania. Ex-cap keeper Max Crepeau did not start after taking a ball to the face. Dane St. Clair replaced. And Ishmael Kone took to the podium yesterday. He starts in the midfield today, and this after having 2 goes at head coach Jesse Marsh during that game against Romania. He was taken off in the second half. He wasn't happy about it. He expressed his displeasure as he was heading to the touchline on his way to the bench. Then he popped off the bench and went out Marsh again and had to be restrained from by Dane St. Clair, the big goalkeeper. Kone apologized. Let me just read He said, as a man and as a player, this is something I shouldn't do. I spoke with my teammates and my coach. They know how much I appreciate them. I made sure to tell them that it will never happen again.
This wouldn't have the legs that it does if he didn't get unceremoniously jettisoned from Olympique Marseille in Ligue 1 in France after a now very public blow-up with his coach there.
Yeah,
it was part of a documentary that Olympique Marseille put out themselves.
Yeah, they did.
They saw themselves so high on the moral high ground that they're like, no, publish, print. We look okay here.
Hit send.
We're okay with this coming from our own website.
Yeah.
So they really saw Ishmael Kone as the problem, not the coach's behavior. Who said,
"Where's Kone now? What's his club now?"
Sassuolo. He just got loaned to Syria.
Yeah, they moved him out.
And the comment from the coach at the time was, "Go cry to your agent." So
yeah, and he's a fiery player. He talked about that yesterday too. He looked at the crest and said, I care so much about this. And then how about this from Wales manager Craig Bellamy, Blake, on Playing Canada? Quote, they bring intensity now. That's why we were able to choose this friendly. Just how they press, how they trigger. They have loads of good habits, very aggressive. There you go. Canada is now being viewed as a worthy test friendly in
he went on to say we could get our arses kicked. He said, I wanted to choose the toughest opponent that I could find in the friendly to really test us. Canada.
Yeah. No, I know.
Talking about us.
And after this, Canada has 3 more friendlies before the end of the year. As for the Whitecaps, Hard Joe Hall, the Daily Hive reporting.
Don't bring it up. Oh,
Yesterday marks 6 months since Ryan Gauld last played for the Whitecaps.
Unfathomable.
She reports he continues to work his way back from a left knee capsule sprain. Vancouver has 7 matches remaining in the MLS regular season. And she also reports the club has sold more than 22,500 tickets for Saturday's match against Philadelphia. So tracking a 3rd straight lower bowl sellout for Thomas Muller.
What would this team look like with Ryan Gauld back?
Oh, I know.
And at this point, he'd really need to be back in the next 10 days for you to hope that come playoffs, he's in any semblance of good shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, part of him is the motor running nonstop. Well, he hasn't run that motor in 6 months.
Are you now concerned that he does not have the runway to be in top form for the playoffs?
I think if it happens soon, if he's training soon, like fully training soon in the next 10 days.
How many does he need? 5 or 6 games, do you think?
No,
not that many
games. I think he would need 3,
okay.
4. So again, we're running out of time. Like that's in 2 weeks.
I mean, Caps have been off for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, we were hopeful that this Saturday would be the return to Ryan Gauld.
yeah. And
I mean, we'll see. It's only Tuesday. We'll see what the week brings.
and then you start to wonder, like, is part of the reason Muller's here is because they realize that
Gauld may not.
Vite is left.
Well,
and
I mean, there were rumors about that earlier in the season that were denied, right? That
Yeah.
no, he's not done for the year. But there's also been so much, I don't know if mystery or confusion is the word, but gosh, this is a very, very, very weird injury in terms of timeline.
When he got injured, they said it would probably be 1 to 2 months.
Yeah.
And it's 6.
It's 6 months. Hockey season around the corner. The Daily Faceoff has your back with the brand new DFO Fantasy Draft Kit, your one-stop shop for everything you need to build that perfect fantasy hockey team. We're talking player projections, updated line combos, power play units, sleepers, bust warnings, team previews, basically all the tools to make you look like a genius while your friends go into this draft blindfolded. Whether you're a seasoned vet or a fantasy rookie, this kit has everything you need to dominate your league. So before you make that first pick or panic in round 5, because you know you will panic in round 5, someone will take the guy you want right in front of you, and now you're scrambling. Head over to thedailyfaceoff.com/draft-kit and get your hands on the fantasy draft kit. Poll question results from Monday, the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. What will benefit Elias Pettersson the most? The answers here were added strength, no JT Miller, getting married, or other. Winner is?
No JT Miller.
Correct. Percentage?
43.
Right on the number, Blake Price. It's not preseason for Blake Price on the poll question guessing game. 40% said added strength, 10% said getting married. Other got 7%. Carol, added strength to stay on his feet, please and thank you. Tyler, he had no Miller for the entire second half of the season last year, and there was no improvement. There were flashes, Tyler, and then he was hurt late, but I hear what you're saying. One Canadian says, other, new coach, talk at hockey is not inspiring. Pettersson needs the shackles off to play his best. We saw a fair bit of that. And we saw JT Miller still has tons of fans here. We saw a whole lot of pushback on him as an option on this poll. I'll use Jimmy here. Blaming JT Miller is laughable. It's going to be because of a good offseason and being fully healthy. Errors and omissions from yesterday's program and beyond. You asked how many pass attempts for the Seattle Seahawks, or I did. It was 23. Felix had 10 break points total against Yannick Sinner. He only converted the 1. I wasn't able to find if he had the 3 in a row that you were talking about.
And that's it. He had twice he went love 40, and neither time converted.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then I'll let you handle the stars on the New Zealand or
I
Australian
gleefully went down the rabbit hole on this.
flags. Blake made a Kiwi and Aussie. Of course, that is a great sin. We've already apologized to him.
But considering how offended they would be by that accusation, Matt, how about you guys differentiate your flags just a little bit more? Now, New Zealand, this is the story. New Zealand claims that Australia copied its flag. They were there first. They've got 4 red stars. Australia's got 6 white stars, including 1 big one under the Union Jack. That's the differentiation.
I know people feel strongly about flags, so I don't necessarily want to say anything sacrilege here. But if you're New Zealand, why would you have a flag so similar to your...
You went there first. Australia copied them.
Okay, if you're Australia, why would you have a flag so similar to your neighbors?
Yeah. Differentiate.
Exactly. Especially like your sports teams wear green and yellow.
Yeah.
Go fashion a green and yellow flag.
We
with
did
like
this.
the kangaroo.
Our early flag was the Union Jack in the corner and the red with the
That's right.
with the badge, like coat of arms. Like, get away from this. You're Australia now. Spread your wings. Get a green and a red flag. I give you license.
Really, when you think of it, and I realize this came before the world of graphic design and people getting creative with Photoshop and other.
Yeah, we could have a flag for you by noon.
Flags are really kind of milk with toast designs, right? Like there are a lot of similar flags out there that.
Well, I was looking at countries that have qualified for the World Cup.
Like
in
Belgium and
2026.
Romania, it's a shade of color away from being the same damn flag.
Morocco and Turkey. Like I had to look. Morocco's qualified. I was like, or is that Turkey?
Hungary, Italy, same colors, just organized a little differently, horizontal, vertical.
Belgium, Germany. Who? Belgium, Germany.
Belgium, Romania.
No, Belgium's the same colors as Germany. Red, yellow, black.
Look up Belgium and Romanian flags. And show me
Romania's
how-
blue, black. Belgium and yes. Luxembourg, France. Yeah, they all share.
The other thing, like the Dutch, red, blue, and white, and then your orange for all your sporting events.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching the Dutch Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago. Like there are all of these fans in orange, despite the fact McLaren, the rival to your hero Max Verstappen, their team color is orange or papaya. So I'm looking at the crowd going, is that Max Verstappen's fans or is that McLaren fans or does it really matter? It's a wave of orange. The flag is red, white, and blue.
We're solving world problems.
Italy. You're green, red, and white. What's your soccer team's name?
The Blues.
Azzurri.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
That's why I hate when Canada goes off of our color scheme. We were red, we were white. If you want to put black trimming somewhere, have at her. But those should be Canadian colors for all sporting events. Don't give me that mustard yellow.
That was a historical harken back, that's all.
One more from Yerke who says Jeff Merrick talked about how big the Doug Gilmour trade was in 92, said 12 players, it was 10.
He says he can still name them all.
Yeah, well, and honestly, a lot of Flames fans can to this day as well.
Yeah.
It was that big a trade for Calgary. It was as
it's like the Gretzky trade to some degree. Not comparing Gilmour to Gretzky.
Oh,
but,
this was so. Yes, this was the Calgary. Toronto fans can still talk about that. Mm-hmm. Gilmour from St. Louis to Calgary was a pretty big deal for the Flames, and then Gilmour from the Flames to the Leafs was a pretty big deal for the Leafs. Are we done here?
I think so.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time and connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Follow on social. That's X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky. We are live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time, weekdays. We should also tell you, Mike, we're publishing on the Canucks Army Facebook page.
Yes, clips will be going to Canucks Army.
Yes. It's got a little issue with the S&P Facebook page, so we're over on Canucks Army there. And, of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about. Keep it local.